All right, so this is number 8, the 8th video lecture on we are in early childhood and we're talking about parenting styles. All right, so let's continue on with another way of conceptualizing different parenting styles. This one is from Lemester and Define, Parenting Motivations. They're not calling these parenting styles, but it argues that they're really parenting. This is kind of an interesting twist, that the way that we parent is influenced by what we need, our own emotional needs. I mean, I guess it's not really that new of an idea, but it is interesting to think about that parenting, that adults act in ways that are not really about their children, it's really about them. So you got one parental motivation, and that is the martyr. And the martyr is the parent that wants to do everything for the children, right? They want to, if a kid wants this, they give them this. They basically spoil them with time, with tension, that they will die for their children. Well, yeah, okay, so they'll give the kids anything, even if it means that they have to sacrifice something for themselves, their career, their money, their time, their attention. And of course, this could be very frustrating because children don't always do what you want them to do. And so the martyr can feel as if they're doing everything for their child and their child isn't giving them anything in return. You got the pal. This is probably what I'm a little bit guilty of. The pal is the one that just wants to be friends, right? So they may be reluctant to establish boundaries or to set rules because they will do anything that it takes for their child to like them. For anything that it takes for their child to like them. So instead of maybe enforcing rules, or instead of asking their children to do things that their kids don't want to do, because it'll make their children unhappy. The police officer and the drill sergeant, these are the people, the parents that want full control over their children. They want their children to obey. They want to control all aspects of their life. It makes them feel good, probably, to do this. You have it might be a little bit of a teacher coach. The teacher coach is motivated by knowing everything about parenting style and taking full responsibility for the product that is their child. So if their kid does something wrong, it doesn't pass math, it doesn't pass algebra or something, the teacher counselor may feel as if they have done something wrong, as if they have let down, as if it's all their fault. The one that, according to your textbook, is the best is the parental motivation. That is the one that results in the most success. Is the athletic coach, and the athletic coach is the parent that advises from the side. So the goal, right, if we think about these different parenting styles as something that's going on cognitively, consciously, that's motivating the parents to act, the motivation of the athletic coach is they want their child to be the best that they can be, and the way they do this is by offering love and support on the sidelines. They may have some of the knowledge that the coach has. They may have some of the desire to control that the police officer has. They may want their children to like them that the pal has. They may be willing to work and sacrifice really hard that the martyr, but they stand on the side and they just try to direct them and hopefully to get the best outcome. Okay, I hope that makes some sense. Maybe I should put a little quiz together. Also, in this brief section about parenting is a discussion about spanking. I think it is worth putting in here and drawing a little bit of attention to this potentially controversial topic. The research continues to say, and continues to be pretty clear and pretty consistent, that spanking is not a successful strategy for parenting. If we think about parenting, if we think about the goal or the outcome that we want when we interact with our children, if we want children to be afraid of us, and if we want children to experience pain, then spanking is a useful strategy. But if we want children to understand that this has a consequence and this is the consequence, spanking does not do that. The thing that children learn from spanking is they learn fear and they learn pain. I think there is a time, and I think the research would probably support this, there is a time for physically shaking up a child, and that might be when they run in front of run in the street, right? We want our children not to run in the street. We want them to be afraid of running in the street. So if they learn to associate that, but the research on any sort of corporal punishment is really really doesn't support the outcome. Now we have lots of folks that will say, "Well, I was spanked as a kid and looked at me. I turned out okay." Yeah, you can probably grow up to be efficient, fully engaged children, but I would one might ask is like what did that teach you about your parents? Yeah. Okay, I'll move on. So this slide represents some of the other considerations. It shifts the topic when we talk about different family forms, and such as single parent families, single parent by choice families, cohabitation, which is a fancy way of talking about living together. Of course, we have issues about sibling relationships that could be influenced by age, by gender, by disability status. Could be influenced by, are we full siblings? Do we have the same mothers and fathers? Are we half siblings? We also have issues here, or included in this chapter is the concerns about childcare, quality of childcare, right? What to look for when we're looking for a childcare facility. There are rules. There are rules established by different states about what is considered acceptable teacher-child ratio. So if you are in the market for looking for a child care facility for your children, consider how many children there are and how many teachers. Consider the physical space, the environment. Is it a home? Is it a center? Consider the philosophy, and I do have a little matching exercise because there are different philosophies. I believe we talked about this in a previous video about how the facility, is it a Montessori or is it another sort of approach? And then what will be emphasized in the curriculum. Maybe it's a nature-based curriculum, maybe it's a math and science, maybe it's an art curriculum. All of these things are things to potentially consider. However, we also need to consider simply the availability of childcare and the cost of childcare. It is an issue that faces all parents who want to work, and there are a limited number of childcare facilities in the state. Okay, then we want to think about peers too. Children in this age group start to have social peer relationships. The textbooks tell us that peer relationships are critical for children learning how to initiate and maintain social interactions, and that peer rejection early in life can predict and forecast future problems. So I think about my boy when we talk about preschool years and peers. As I've mentioned before, my boy is on the autism spectrum, and I still have some memories when he was small, and we had just moved to this new town, and so I didn't have any friends that had small children. And I can remember him taking him to the park, and him saying he wanted some buddies. He just wanted to play with some buddies. And because he was on the spectrum, he didn't have any siblings, and I don't have any siblings, so he didn't have like cousins or anything. He had some trouble learning how to interact. And as we've talked about in a previous slide, social interactions are dependent on learning that taking turns of conversations and such. So William did struggle with establishing and maintaining social relationships, and I think it's probably fair to say that him struggling with maintaining relationships even in preschool is a phenomena that carried with him all the way as he grew up. Okay, I'm going to stop here. And in the next one, what is the topic in the next slide? In the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about play.